Good morning, everybody. My name is Juan Ross. Today we have Puerto Rican goalkeeper Cody Laurendi. Cody, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Juan. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Well, like I want to start off, Cody, thank you so much, taking your time out of your day doing this for me. I really do appreciate it. And to start off the interview, if you could talk to us about your upbringing in Melbourne, Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. My family is from Long Island, New York.
Mm-hmm.
But I am born and raised in Florida, so I consider myself a Floridian, obviously. Everybody kind of comes to the state of Florida from the Northeast or from elsewhere, right? So to have been born and raised in Florida, it's a little different. Lived there until I was 17 years of age. Growing up, played multiple sports, basketball, baseball. Played American football in high school. Was actually pretty serious about playing
kicker, right?
Yes, was pretty. Was almost going to go down the path of playing college football. And kind of at the last minute, decided to stick with soccer. I was afforded the opportunity to go to a junior college and play. I played one season there, and then was able to start my professional career abroad in Belgium. Yeah.
Of course. And then is there anything that you miss about your upbringing? Because nowadays all these kids just with technology, not really having an upbringing per se, but in your what's it called? In your way, is there anything that you miss?
Well, I think how old are you?
I'm 23.
23, okay. So I'm 32, right? I think you've grown up with the internet your entire life, right?
For the probably like middle school and up,
right. So I think in terms of I don't say miss, but that's what is a little different is that we grew up, we're the last generation to have grown up without the internet and then with the internet.
Correct.
Right. So knowing people's phone numbers by heart, knowing your friends' phone numbers by heart, right? The landline, not the cell phone, the landline, right? Hey, Mrs. So and so, can my buddy, can he come over? Right? That's almost unheard of nowadays.
Exactly.
Coming home when the streetlights come on. That's when that's what your parents told you. That's a little different than today. So there's a couple things that are different. But look, the world progresses and it's progressing at a light year speed. It seems like so. Those are great things to reminisce on, but the future is what I'm about.
Exactly. And obviously, like you mentioned, you were a star for both soccer and football. What made you choose soccer over football? Because, like we know, you were a great kicker.
It's my first love was soccer. Growing up, weekend tournaments. It's how I made my friends. It was just, and obviously, soccer in the U.S. back in the 90s and early 2000s was a little different than it is now. Now we're gaining traction. Now it's taken off, right? Because America is the melting pot, right, of culture, of religion, name it, we have it, right? So it's only fitting that the world's game, football, the actual football, catches on here. But just back to your question. Soccer is my first love. I started off as a field player. I was never a goalkeeper until high school. So playing, I just love it, man. I love it.
Of course. And then something else the fans that don't know about Cody, something apart from the soccer world, apart from being a professional soccer athlete.
My genuine curiosity and my genuine desire to help people. That's something that I really value a lot. To be honest with you, I was not the first pick. I spent a lot of time on the bench growing up. I didn't go to a big time school. I wasn't told how great I was from an early age. But all those things, while they do suck to go through, I think they definitely build character and they build empathy. For people that may be wanting to take a bet on themselves, but maybe not be the most talented, maybe not the most athletically gifted, you name it. But that's something about myself that I really, really enjoy is helping others, even if it's just giving them a compliment, right? Even if they're take it in the soccer realm, right? You see a teammate who maybe he's not playing week in and week out, and it's visible that it's affecting him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's there early, and he's leaving late, and he's doing all the extra things, right, that are required of a professional to kind of change their circumstance. Let them know how impressed you are with them, right? Exactly. And that goes a long way through personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take much, but it's, hey, I see you working. I see you trying to change things for the better for yourself instead of the woe is me, right? Why isn't coach playing me? This coach doesn't like me. Oh, I'm better than him. That type of talk.
Yeah.
It's action.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see, a teammate, a friend, a family member, actively trying to better themselves, let them know.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that goes a long way.
Yeah, most definitely. I completely do agree. And obviously, what is your favorite type of music and food?
Favorite music? Man, I'm big on Southern soul music at the moment. Growing up, hip hop, right? Being from the South, right? It's 3 6 Mafia. It's Outkast. It's Yo Gotti, Plies. You name it. Yeah. Like we listen to it as you mature, right? Mm-hmm. Just like everything, like you refine your taste, and I still listen to hip hop and rap. Mm-hmm. But now I'm more of a southern soul, R&B type of guy. Yeah. Anything vocal. It takes a heck of a lot of talent to be good at singing and to be good at playing an instrument, and those are skills that I do not have. So I am definitely I admire those who can do that, and it's an incredible skill. One that I, like I said, don't have. And then when it comes to food, man. I'm Irish Italian, so Italian food was always up there for me. Yeah. As of late, I'm big with the red meat, man. I like a good ribeye steak. And some vegetables. Mm. Pretty simple, but it's hard to beat.
Yeah, of course. Is there an embarrassing song on your phone that you have or no?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's the name is escaping. It's a Taylor Swift song. It's just I can't remember what the title was, but I listened to it. And, all of her songs are about some sort of failed relationship or relationship, right? Yeah. So I wouldn't be necessarily drawn to listening to her, but then I heard this song and I was like, man, that's a catchy tune. Yeah. That or there's a new one with Lady Gaga, but it's got like a more beats per minute, faster beats per minute, right? Yeah. So it's more of a
fast-paced song,
house music or something like that. Yeah. So which I really like that genre of vocal house as well. So that's kind of the correlation that I have between those songs. That would be an embarrassing song.
Of course. And then obviously you play for the Puerto Rico national team, and as a goalkeeper, who do you think has possibly been the best Puerto Rican goalie, talking about the men's national team?
Let's see. Well, okay, so early on when I played for the Islanders at a club level, they had a goalkeeper. They had a goalkeeper there by the name of Bill Gaudet.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And Bill went on to have success in the MLS. I think he played for LA and for New York Red Bull. Mm-hmm. He's since retired. Yeah. But I looked at him because early on I was 20, 21. Mm-hmm. I looked at him and I backed him up. He was somebody who I've never seen be more meticulous with his preparation. Mm-hmm. And crossing every T, if you will. Yeah. Dotting the I's, crossing the T's, right? Making sure there was no stone left unturned. Wow. And it inevitably led to success. I think the year before I got there, he was one of the big reasons. They made a massive run. Yeah. CONCACAF Champions League. Mm-hmm. And they wound up losing, no shame in this, they lost to Cruz Azul. Yeah. Down in Mexico in penalty kicks. And that run that they had, a lot of it was down to the play of Bill. Mm-hmm. So getting an opportunity as a young guy to shadow, if you will, what a successful professional does.
Yeah.
He was somebody that I looked up to, and then obviously that same success transferred over to the Puerto Rico national team.
Of course. Did you ever have the chance to possibly play with Josh Saunders, who also played for Galaxy and the Puerto Rican national?
Yeah. So Josh was there right before, I think the year before, 2 years before I got there.
Ah, okay.
The Islanders have actually had, and I'm going to be humble, I'm going to take myself out of this category here, but they've had Terry Boss, like I said, Bill Gaudette, they had Josh Saunders, they had Dan Kennedy, right? All goalkeepers that, in their own right, fantastic goalies.
Exactly.
So they were definitely blessed to have
caliber players.
Yes, that have had MLS careers.
Exactly. So, most definitely. And obviously, from the various forwards or many forwards that you've encountered in your career, who has been the toughest forward that you have encountered on the pitch?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a very, very good question. Let's see, at a USL level, Devin Sandoval from New Mexico.
New Mexico, yeah.
I don't want to say old school because everything is like it's so condensed in terms of what's considered old school and new school, right? That you play. But Dev is like this. He's big body, right? So he's a hold-up forward, but he's also got incredible skill.
Yeah.
So he's always been one that when we've played against one another, he played here for the NASL team called
OKC. Rio OKC. Mm-hmm.
And then we've crossed paths again for when he plays for New Mexico, but always a handful to deal with, right? And just not only a big body and an imposing figure, but also technically gifted.
Exactly, most definitely. And obviously, being a professional soccer athlete, Cody, have you ever given thought what could have been your profession if you weren't to be a professional soccer player?
I would have. I definitely would have. And I actually kind of still think about this from time to time, pursuing a professional punting career in the NFL or the CFL. Now, it's still a possibility. I mean, who knows? But I know that my athletic window is closing. But if it wasn't sports related, I'd definitely be a teacher.
Oh wow!
At some level. I think I enjoy learning now more than I probably did in school. I think that's a fair to say. I think a lot of people would agree with that. But to be able to positively affect the trajectory of somebody's life at a young age is something that I value, and it's what I do to this day when I do coach as well. So I would say teacher.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. Best goalkeeper right now?
Oof.
It's many.
Neuer.
Manuel.
Neuer. That guy has single-handedly changed how the position is played and how coaches view the position, right? You talk about an individual that transcends, a position in a sport. It's no longer 10 outfield players and then throw the guy who has good reactions in the goal. We expect, we are going to base a playing style, high press, win the ball back higher up the field, around the fact that our goalkeeper is going to camp out, and sometimes right around halfway. Yeah. Because we're so confident in his abilities and our abilities as a team. Mm-hmm. It's got to be Neuer. Now, I have a soft spot for Gianluigi Buffon. Just because of not only his heritage, right, and the team that I support is Juve, but the fact that he's able to do it at such a high level at 43 years of age. Yeah, it's crazy. 43. I know, Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady's similar age. Yeah. So it's just to see success at that position that takes so much mental focus and mental acuity is inspiring. Most definitely. Best goalkeeper in the history of soccer, in your opinion? That's a good question. I'd have to say the same too. Neuer's still making his, is still winning trophy. Yeah. I'm not saying Buffon is done, but there's a good case to make for both of them. Yeah. Yeah. This is just me personally. I believe, the sport has become so athletic. Yeah. That I think I'm not going to say anything controversial. I just think that the players that played back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, early 90s, right, who, you know, they were going out after games. They were smoking cigs. They were drinking, right? You know, and they had shorter careers. I mean, you're starting to see guys have, you know, a bit more success in terms of longevity. And a lot of that is down to how they take care of themselves, right? These teams are investing millions of dollars in facilities, right, for, I don't know, cryo chambers and physiotherapy, and you name it, they have it, right? You know, that's going to extend players' careers, which then gives them an opportunity to win more trophies, to play more games. I mean, I saw a crazy stat the other day. Buffon just played his, I think, 1100th game in all competitions. 1100 games? Hey, that's mind-blowing.
That's mind-blowing. And at his age, you know?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I mean, there's pros that have careers that play less than 50 games.
Exactly.
You know, so if you're not a regular starter, you're coming off the bench, and you're, you know, on a team for 2 or 3 seasons, that the reality is, you know, you're not playing that much.
Exactly.
So.
Most definitely. And then obviously, as I did my research, I saw that you did have some time in Belgium in the 4th division, if I'm not wrong. If you could talk to us about how that came about, and how was the overall experience?
Of course. No, the experience was great because at 18 years of age, I was out of my comfort zone. Coming from Florida, like we talked about earlier on, things like I didn't even have a winter growing up. I didn't have to go through a winter, right? So on top of that, you're out of your comfort zone, right? So you figure it out real quick. Do I like the idea of being a pro, or do I really want to be a pro, right? You go over there, and you know, like I said, different weather, different monetary system, different language, right? All these things, and I wouldn't have traded it for the world. It was the best experience at such a young age. Where I was over there. I remember it like it was yesterday. We're watching a Europa League game at the time with PSG, and I'm sitting thinking to myself, Am I missing out on the quote unquote American college experience, right? Where my friends are, you know, going to the bar, you know, like I said, I had a little experience with it when I went to junior college. But I'm saying, you know, what am I missing out on? Am I doing the right thing here? You know, taking stock, if you will, of my decision. And it hit me when we're standing underneath the Eiffel Tower, because we went to go check out Paris after the game. There's no way I'm missing out. If anything, I'm gaining in life experience and cultural experience. Getting like to this day, players that I was teammates with back then, and we're talking 2007, 8, and 9. I can pick up the phone and call them. They're the other side of the world. You know, so for a young person to be out of their comfort zone, I highly suggest it. Because it was great. It was great.
Most definitely. And like how you said, at a young age, leaving the United States, leaving your comfort zone, not only do you meet new people, make new connections, but you explore the world, you know?
100%. And you're with like-minded individuals. So you're inevitably going to pick up good character traits, good habits, right? And don't get me wrong, it wasn't all work, no play. Like we had the best of both worlds. You know, we would go to school, we would train
and play
the match, and then on our off days we get to go take the train to Holland. That's like 30 minutes away, and go explore the city.
Exactly. And then
it was a great way to experience the world at an early age.
Most definitely. And obviously, when you come back from Belgium, you signed professionally with the Puerto Rican Islanders. How did you feel? If I'm not wrong, was that your first time signing a professional contract? Because if I'm not wrong, you didn't get paid in Belgium.
A little bit with Belgium. Everything that we earned was under the table money.
Okay.
And it was all incentive based. So, from a goalkeeping standpoint, if I started and we got a clean sheet, I'd make a couple €100.
Okay.
But yes, coming to going to Puerto Rico afterwards, at that year in 2010, they were the USL and the NASL had sanctioned into one league, right? And that was my first professional contract that I signed. Again, like I said, great experience. another culture that I was able to really connect with. Teammates from like every locker room is teammates from all over the world.
Yeah, diverse.
We had a great mixture of youth and experience, and that led to our success. We won the league that year.
Yeah.
As well as doing pretty well against established teams here in North America, like Toluca, like LA Galaxy, like Olympia, like FAS, all these big time clubs, and we held our own, and in some cases we did better than just hold our own. So
of course, and obviously when you started making good money, Cody, do you remember what you first purchased, like when you started earning well?
Yeah, it's a good question. I probably, of all the years, I've definitely reinvested a lot of my money into myself.
Okay.
In the sense of new gear, in the sense of whether it be paying for a massage therapist, whether it be paying for extra, I believe in float tanks. So sensory deprivation tanks that help your body kind of heal.
Okay.
So a lot of my money in terms of investing it back into myself went into, could I get maybe the highest quality protein for the protein shake? That's the mindset I took early on. And look, don't get me wrong. At the level that I was playing at, we're not making a lot of money, but we're making enough money to finally feel like, all right, I can make a career out of this. I would say in terms of, there was no big purchase, like a materialistic thing. I've never been one like that, but it was more of a, how can I reinvest this money that I'm making to better myself? Yes.
Of course. And obviously at the age of 32, have you achieved all your goals as a professional athlete?
I've achieved a lot of them. One of them that I still plan on, checking off the list are these World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah.
Which I'm very, very excited for.
Next month.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, look, I've been fortunate enough to make a career out of what I do, what I love.
Exactly.
What I love. And as the years have gone on, it's not easy. It is not easy whatsoever.
Yeah.
I didn't become a starter full time till I was 25, and I've been a pro since I was 18. So that was 7 years. You work your ass off just to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
And you grow to have an appreciation for it. Whereas if you receive it right away, you're starter from day one. Maybe you don't appreciate it as much. Maybe you don't understand how to deal with that adversity. Because many a times I thought to myself through that 7-year period, man, is this ever going to work out? Am I good enough?
Yeah.
Doubt. So all that stuff creeps in. All that stuff creeps in. So as far as achievement of goals, absolutely. Look, I've been able to, especially this past 5 years, find a home in the Oklahoma City Energy that has welcomed me, has welcomed my family. I'm fortunate enough to have met my wife, here, and we've bought a house recently. So
congrats.
I'm definitely, thank you. I am beyond blessed when it comes to achieving of any athletic endeavor. That's for.
Most definitely. And obviously within that 7-year long period, what kept you motivated? What kept you going? Because like how you said, as a professional athlete and being on the bench for that long, I'm pretty sure maybe retirement came possibility in your mind. But what kept you going? Because like there's a saying in Spanish, todo esfuerzo tiene su recompensa, saying like all hard work pays off eventually, and obviously everything that you did brought fruit. And then spending five years in Oklahoma, but what kept you motivated and kept you going?
Yeah, I think it was incremental progress, but that's down to the willingness to arrive early and stay late, to do the extra.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not as if it's just incremental progress just because I was there. It was incremental progress because I was willing to do the extra rep. I was willing to stay the extra 5 to 10 minutes to have the striker take shots on me.
Yeah.
You get backing from teammates, and that belief from your teammates helps a lot.
Yeah.
when we finished training and a teammate is like, hell of a job, or hey, you kept it. They say we're playing small sided on a weekend, right?
Yeah.
Or a weekday, I should say, and you're the reason why one team doesn't have to do 10 push-ups at the end of the training session.
That matters.
It matters.
Hell yeah.
That's a win.
Hell yeah.
You have to, and how I've taken it is you go into every single day, every single training session to compete, to do your best to win. Yeah. Right? Because winning habits obviously winning habits on the training field inevitably bleed into the game field. So, exactly. I think through that time period, you start to see incremental progress. You start to read the game a little bit better, your angles, your positioning in the goal, your comfort level, if you will. And then you kind of realize, it's also on me, and I'm a big believer in this, with your words as you're coaching on the field to empower the people that are in front of you. Yeah. Because if you're able to put the people in front of you at ease or build their confidence in you, they're going to have more confidence in themselves. Exactly. So you kind of figure it out over time. You layer it, right? You start with the basics, the handling, and then you get into the positioning, right? The angles, and then it's okay. Can I be a dominant force in my 18-yard box, my 6-yard box, my 18-yard box, right? And then it's okay. What more can I add to it? So you kind of layer, if you will, the skill set over the years and years. I mean, now we're at the point with the goalkeeping position, going back to Neuer, where they expect you to be class with your feet as well. Exactly. So it's like, all right, well, Monday through Friday, let's do some footwork as possible. Yeah. Let's work with feet. Let's not try to just boot it. I mean, look, there's a time and place for that. Yeah. Right? So if you watched Liverpool last week, right? Allison's getting bombarded with, why didn't he do this or why didn't he do that? When I guarantee, if he took one of those and he just booted it out, they would have said, he had plenty of time there. He could have just played out, right? So, I would just say, yes, I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't think about this for me. Should I go do something else? Will I ever get an opportunity to put all this hard work on display? Yeah. But those thoughts kind of quickly leave and reiterate to yourself that, hey, daily progress, 1% better every day. Exactly, most definitely. And obviously being a goalkeeper, Cody, a very tough position, because sometimes all the pressure is on the goalie. Let's say if it wasn't for the goalie that let this goal in, we wouldn't have lost and such things like that, But in your case, are you do you get very nervous before the games, or do you actually mentally prepare yourself and be okay, even if I do this, I'm not gonna let it get to my head, Because it's a very tough position. 100%. It is it's a mental position, and full disclosure, I have been a pro for 13 or 14 years. I've been uncomfortable every single day. Wow. Every single day. I've never felt and let me distinguish. I'm confident in my abilities, right? I feel prepared, but comfort. I've never felt comfort in a game. Wow. I still to this day have nerves, but that's a good thing. Nerves mean you care. Yeah. Right? Nerves mean you care about the outcome. Right? This is sports. It's black and white. You have a winner and you have a loser. And then look, in football you can tie. But the reality is you have a winner and you have a loser. There is no participation trophies, right? Your work is on display, right or wrong, for everybody to judge. Yeah. Right. And you can help with that your own self-confidence by your preparation, right, throughout the week, making sure all those boxes are ticked, making sure you go into the game day where you're confident that you can deal with any situation, scenario, any situation, right? But as far as comfort, I have never been comfortable in the past 14 years. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. It's the truth. Yeah, most definitely. And obviously, I'm very sure that you saved many PKs during a match. But if you could take us, what goes through saving a PK? Are you the type of goalkeeper that to research these strikers and watch their videos, or try to even get in their head, jumping and talking shit to them, to maybe get in their head and maybe even make a miss, But if you could talk to us about saving a PK and doing research, Of course, yeah. Well, I have to give a shout out to my current goalkeeper coach, Alexis Vizarellis. Okay. He came to the energy in 2018. And up until that point, in terms of, any type of, video review or doing homework with penalties, I was never one to do that. But when he arrived, we would, with the computer, we'd sit down, and we would look at their, 5 or 6 players on the team that were playing that weekend that could possibly take a penalty kick.
Yeah.
And you would go back on a Instat or a Y Scout, these programs where you can go back years, right, and see these highlights of these players. We did in-depth analysis. We would do in-depth analysis
on your own.
Yes, on our own. Yeah. So what we would do is we would meet for a coffee, right, post training. Say we play on a Saturday, we'd meet on a Thursday, right, and we'd review and say, hey, as the season has gone on, this guy has taken 2 of their pens, right? Let's look at, let's see if we can't find any sort of tell or giveaway, right? All right, this guy's run up. Every time he runs up quickly, he hits it. He whips it with the right foot to the keeper's left. But every time he takes that stutter step, right, generally he goes across his body to the keeper's right. Those are conversations that we have, and those are conversations that we've had on every single week over the past 3 years.
Wow.
And two of the last 3 penalties that I've faced, I've saved.
Wow.
And it's down to that because you have an idea in your head, and then it's like, look, I trust our homework. Yeah. I trust our homework because look, the guys are so good at disguising where they're going, and they hit it with such pace that even a lot of times, even if you do guess right, there's nothing you can do about when that goes side netting. There's nothing that you can do that, goes top stanch where that family of spiders lives, right?
Exactly.
So, you're not always going to be successful, but can you put yourself in the best possible opportunity to be successul?
Exactly.
So that's honestly our secret.
Of course. But are you the type of goalkeeper to talk trash, like to the forward, be like, you're not going to score. I know where you're going, because that's huge on the forward to put them under pressure, True. But I've never been one to. No, I like to be calm, between the ears. Yeah. I'm not interested in chatting shit. And it happens a lot. And some guys, they're able to have success off of that, right? Me, I like a clear head. I'm not interested in getting involved. And I just again, I feel I'm confident in my own abilities, right? I don't need to, I'll beat you with my action. Yeah. What Marshawn said, right, about that action, boss. Right? Exactly. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Most definitely. And obviously, as a soccer player, us, the fans, tend to think that you guys live lavishly with cars, money, women, and everything like that, but at times it's never like that. But in your case, Cody, what has been the toughest moment in your career so far?
Dealing with any type of contractual uncertainty. That's always a big one. And throughout the years, if I can, give a little reality to the perception of being a professional, nobody in the USL, even the MLS, everybody's gonna have to get a job after you get them playing, right? There's 1% in the MLS that they don't have to work a day in their life, and that's not strictly for the US. I mean, you look around the world, most football that is played at a lower division, right? So the financial, incentive is not necessarily there. Yeah. That's a good and bad thing. Obviously, it's a bad thing because you can't go have a Lamborghini in the driveway and have a mansion, right? But it's also good because it forces you to
work hard,
come to grips with that, and have financial literacy and understand that, hey, maybe I should get into the community to supplement my income, whether it be through coaching or, I don't know, public speaking. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? But there's some good things that come from it. Yeah, of course, everybody wants more money, but that's not the reality. So you learn to live within your means. You set a budget, and you go forth with that. I mean, my wife and I, we don't live a lavish lifestyle, but we don't need to. Yeah, there's no. We have a nice house. We have we have a roof over our head. We have food in the refrigerator.
Blessed.
Be thankful for, man. We're blessed. Exactly.
Of course. And then eventually you do sign with LA Galaxy too, more like known as Los Dos. You played 19 games under Curt Arnolfo. How did you feel, after a long time? And obviously you spent time with Puerto Rico, but you gained confidence from your coach. How did you feel? That's great.
Yeah, I was, man, that was a blessing. That was a blessing. But I would also say that it's a blessing. I was the one who paid my way to the open tryout.
Oh, yeah.
Paid for the flight.
Yeah.
Paid for the hotel room. Paid for the rental car, right?
Combine from Boca Negra, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep. He was promoting it on his Twitter. Mm-hmm. And I said $100 to go be seen in front of these scouts. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And
wow.
this is after being a professional for 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you talk about betting on yourself. I think that's something that I hope the listeners can understand, is that you can think that you're better than an open tryout, or coaches should be calling you. No, you have to be about action.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be willing to literally pay your dues. Mm-hmm. Right? Figuratively, you pay your dues by showing up every day and doing your best. But literally, sometimes, right or wrong or indifferent, that's how this is set up here in America.
Yeah.
And it was the best $100 that I spent up until this day.
Yeah.
And I got there, and a few weeks later, I get a phone call. I'm back home in Florida from Bruce Arena telling me he wants to bring me into preseason with the first team. I mean, crying tears of joy in my parents' kitchen, hugs and everything. Mm-hmm. But it's also down to action. It's like, you're not going to, I cannot stand inaction. Mm-hmm. And I cannot stand people who, the woe is me, why doesn't this coach like me, or this player isn't better than me? No. Yeah. Go prove it. Mm-hmm. Go prove it. And prove it by your actions. Yeah. So that's definitely something that I value. And then the experience with LA was so invaluable. Mm-hmm. I was a beneficiary of, I know this is going to sound weird, I was a beneficiary of an injury to one of the goalkeepers, right? Mm-hmm. So I had signed there knowing that I probably wasn't going to get much time, going to be the backup for Los Dos. I think 1 or 2 weeks into the season, the guy in front of me, the third choice for the first team, unfortunately went down with a season-ending injury. Well, that opened up the opportunity for me.
Was that Brian Perk?
Brian Perk, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So Brian, great guy, crazy goalkeeper, wore the headgear, right?
Yeah.
Because of concussion issues, and I believe he was cleared to come back to train, and then all of a sudden, another concussion. So really, really tough luck for him. Yeah. Really tough luck for him. Mm-hmm. But that provided me an opportunity. I was able to come in and get valuable experience. And that was a time in my career where I still was unsure. Can I do it? Yeah. Am I good enough? And obviously LA. They like me enough to sign me. Mm-hmm. So let's show them what I can do.
Exactly. Favorite game with Galaxy?
Ooh, all right. This is gonna be an interesting one. It was a preseason game against the first team.
Oh wow! Okay.
It was a preseason game against the first team, and Robbie Keane chipped me. I was chipped from like 40 yards out, right? And so you could see it, and I know this is going to sound strange as to why it was my most enjoyable or favorite game. Mm-hmm. But to have, and look, I wanted to, don't get me wrong, they opened the stadium up. I want to say there's like 15,000 people there. And in fairness to him, Robbie Keane Cruyffed, a ball that came out of the air, left two of our defenders, not sure where the heck he was. He looked up, I was way out of the box, and he chipped me, right? Wow. I wanted to dig a hole under the field and hide there, right? Because it was so embarrassing. Yeah. So embarrassing. You do it in front of 15,000 people. Oh, look at the keeper. He sucks. Well, walking into halftime, I'm walking past Robbie, and he was like, I said to him, I was like, look, you taught me a valuable lesson there, man. I switched off for a millisecond. Yeah. A player his caliber punishes me. So that was something that at the time was super uncomfortable to go through. But, looking back on it,
It taught you something.
Learned a valuable lesson. So that, I mean, and that kind of, Kurt at the time, Kurt was really, the way he reacted to it, he was fine with it. He said, look, things like that happen. He was really adamant that we play that, what is now the Manuel Neuer,
style,
Bayern Munich style, right? So he didn't have an issue with it. He just said, look, now, obviously now you learn from that. Yeah. Spacing is important, right? And yes, you switched off for a second, and a player of his caliber will do that to you.
Yeah.
And then we went on to have a pretty good year that year. Mm-hmm. Not saying it was strictly down to me, but we were definitely a more attacking, higher up the field team. Yeah. Because of that experience.
Most definitely. Did you want to leave, obviously, LA Galaxy, and how was it living in Los Angeles? I'm pretty sure very different from what you're accustomed to in Florida, If you could talk about that.
It was, I loved it there. I really loved my time there. My dad just so happened to be out in El Segundo on a work assignment as well.
Wow.
So we were living in Carson, and then my dad and I, probably, I say 3 or 4 times a week, I got to see him more than I'd ever seen him in my young adult life.
Wow. Traveling.
I was living in Belgium, and then I was in Puerto Rico, right? And this is the first time as an adult that I was able to see him pretty regularly.
Yeah.
So we would go down, he would get up for work at 5 o'clock. We would either go to, we'd go down to the Strand in Manhattan Beach, or the surrounding areas. We'd go try the new restaurants. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
I got to meet some awesome people. Unfortunately, was released at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. It did catch me by surprise, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I was under the impression I was going to come back for at least one more year.
Yeah.
But all in all, man, I loved it. Mm-hmm. I loved it.
That's good.
I didn't love the gas prices being $5.50. So yeah. But what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And then how was it, because obviously you were part of those. I'm pretty sure, like I said, you had preseason with the first team. You guys played against them. You probably even trained with them, How was it playing with Robbie Keane and probably even David Beckham? Did you have conversations with them? Like, if you could talk about that as well, that's probably astonishing,
Yeah, so David Beckham had left right before I got there.
Oh, wow.
But, he would show up. He would periodically show up to training.
Oh, wow.
Who I really, really was able to kind of conversate with was Landon.
Okay, LD,
yeah. Landon, I'll be honest with you, and Carlos Bocanegra. I know Carlos, didn't play for LA, but he played at the time he was playing for Chivas.
Chivas, right? You said, yeah.
Those two men, you would never know. Carlos Bocanegra was Captain America, okay? Landon Donovan, arguably U.S.'s best player of all time.
Yeah.
Those two men, right, had zero ego.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It was a conversation like you and I are having.
Wow.
And these guys have achieved
many things.
If I achieve a quarter of what they've achieved in their career, I would be, over the moon elated.
Yeah.
But these guys, being able to speak to them on a personal level, on a human level, mm-hmm. right, and then knowing that they possess the capacity to do what they can do on a football field,
it's crazy.
It's like it's when they say never meet your idols,
mm-hmm.
And just totally honest. Like, I've never grown up as those guys being my idols, but mm-hmm. they became my idols because of how they carry themselves.
Yeah.
How they make you feel.
Mm-hmm.
How they that's the only thing that people remember about individual interaction, mm-hmm. and they make me feel like I belong.
Yeah. That's good.
And that meant so much.
Mm-hmm.
So
just like how you said earlier in the conversation, the little things matter.
Things matter, right? And paying it forward to the next generation. It doesn't have to be, not literally paying, but just paying with your knowledge,
exactly,
with your experience.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. And in 2016, you signed with OKC Energy. Did you ever imagine playing 5 seasons or four seasons? Five seasons with them, Like, again, hard work pays off.
Yes, yeah. And I think I mentioned this earlier. The ability to have stability, mm-hmm. the ability to have stability in the USL is rare.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is very rare.
Being usually a starter, too.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Correct. Usually you see guys that sign, 1-year contract or a 1-year contract with a 1-year club option, mm-hmm. And for the first 2 years, that is what I signed. But again, through performance, both on and I like to think off the field as well. I dove into this community, right? I've made relationships within this community. I value carrying myself in a way that not only reflects me, but reflects my family and reflects the club.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to do that here. I've been able to do that here. So, yes, it's a ton of hard work, but then it's also not just what you do on the field, it's how you carry yourself off the field.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think, made you have success at OKC, possibly having confidence within yourself, maybe?
Yeah, well, the guy, the coach who brought me here is one of my favorite people of all time. His name is Jimmy Nielsen.
The guy who played for Sporting.
Played for Sporting. 2013, he won the league. Yeah. Won the league with 3 or 4 broken ribs. Not many people know that.
Wow.
Played that final with 3 or 4 broken ribs. Another guy who is an absolute legend in every sense of the word. The kindest person, mm-hmm. right? He was the first coach that ever called me up and he says, "What you have, we want." Right?
That's dope.
Right. And to hear it from him, I'm like Jimmy, I watched you play in the final a couple of years ago, man, and I'm having a conversation with you.
Yeah.
He backed me 1,000%. And this relationship started when I played for LA, because he was the coach of LA. He was the coach of OKC that year, their first year in 2014. So we played them then, and he was very complimentary. Then when I had that 1 year in Austin, we played them again. So we built up a good relationship, and then he gave me a call in that off season because the Austin Aztecs had folded, so mm-hmm. I was a free agent. Yeah, he gave me a call. He said, "Look, you're our guy." Mm-hmm. So there really wasn't much of any type of back and forth. It was like,
"Let's go."
Yes, sir. Let's go. Let's do it. Him and his wife were the ones who picked me up from the airport here.
Wow.
I landed. Wow. He didn't have to do that. Mm-hmm. He didn't have to. He wanted to. He wanted to make sure my first impression was a positive.
Yeah, of course.
And you talk about a man who will back his players. Mm-hmm. You talk about a coach who guys love to play for. Yeah. You can't find, in my opinion, a better one than Jim.
Of course. What does OKC mean to you? Because obviously being there 5 years, like how you said, you met your wife, you even bought a house in Oklahoma. But what does OKC mean to you? Oh, the absolute world.
The people that come to support us week in and week out, that pay their hard-earned money to the stands, and a reoccurring theme in this pod has been weather. Right? We don't have great weather, right? So it's not LA, it's not 0 humidity, 75, not sky, right? It's brutal at times, right? So for those people, for me to see those same faces week in and week out that care. Yeah. Right. And when we can deliver a win for them at home after a week's long hard work, that appreciation and that joy that I get, I hope they get that times two. Yeah. OKC it's home. It's home for me. It's somewhere that my wife and I plan to be for some time. And long after I get done playing, I really do. I hope I'm involved with the organization at some level for a very long time.
I imagine you probably will, and maybe even become the goalkeeper coach.
We'll see. They got a great one right now.
Yeah, of course. Who the funniest and shyest player within the OKC Energy locker room?
All right, funniest. That's a good one. Can they be past teammates as well?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. I had a teammate by the name of Evan Frimpong.
Oh, from Ghana, no?
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. And a great guy. Like you want him on your in your locker room 10 times out of 10. Yeah. Incredible talent too. Yeah. But he just cracked me up. He was so funny. Yeah. He was like he was funny in not like a practical joking sense of way, but he had so much joy. He brought so much joy and happiness all the time that you couldn't help but like
resist.
Just you couldn't help. He was a warm personality, but he also he was always laughing, always smiling, always having a good time. He go, "Oh Charlie boy," but he was a great one. He was a great teammate. And then with the shyest,
the shyest.
Man, didn't like interviews. I'm trying to think. Nobody's coming to mind right now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have one that I can that comes to mind. To be fair, I think you say shy. I definitely say the younger guys.
Younger guys, yeah.
Well, just because they're trying to find their footing, they're trying to figure out, get where they fit in.
Exactly.
Banter's flying around the locker room, and they don't really understand it, type of thing. But nobody has really come to mind because those young players inevitably warm to the situation, they assimilate, and they become part of the group. But nobody that I can think of has been shy from the first day of preseason to the last kick of the postseason.
Of course. Best and worst fashion within the OKC energy?
Ooh, okay. Some guys, some of my Caribbean teammates, man, they pull out, or I say Caribbean teammates, right? They got some style that's a little questionable.
Tiba Harris?
Well, no, Tiba's good.
Tiba's good?
Tiba's good. Hey, Tiba, he knows what works for him. He's fresh. There's some guys, man, that they wear some clothing options that I'm like, that, or I've had some French teammates who, I'm not going to put any names on blast, but you kind of question the validity of the name brand apparel that they're rocking into the locker room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Of course. Best game with the energy.
Best game personally.
Mm-hmm.
Best game personally would have been Vegas in 2018.
Okay.
Now, most meaningful was 2016 against Rio, OKC in the U.S. Open Cup. That was probably one of my most enjoyable matches in my career as a whole, not just here in OKC, but obviously big time rival.
Yeah.
They had Georgie Samaras on the team. They had Ryan Finley. They had
Marvin Chavez.
Yes, Chavez.
Moises Hernandez.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So big. Yeah. Mo was on the team. It was like
great team.
Great team.
Yeah.
Great team. So to go there to play against them, that was and to beat them in overtime. That was awesome. That was awesome. Bragging rights.
Yeah, of course. Biggest trash talker on the pitch. There must be someone.
Yeah, on my team.
Or possibly against.
That I played against.
Yeah. It would be pretty interesting to hear from a goalkeeper.
Yeah, to think about it like that. Not in a mean way, but I just know that I could always hear him on the field. Jamal Johnson. Jamal Johnson most recently played for Fresno, but him and I were teammates with Fort Lauderdale. JJ had a good career overseas as well. But definitely one of those guys that you could hear. But he was confident in his abilities, and he's a great player. So it obviously worked for him. It was never anything like, talking shit to a specific player, but more like self-talk, but you could hear it. It wasn't just internal. It was external self-talk.
Of course. Best teammate on the national team and on club as well.
Best teammate for the national team is Sidney Rivera.
El Capitán.
Yes, Sidney and I, obviously, we're closer in age than most of the team, right?
Yeah.
So we have a lot more in common.
Yeah.
But he's a great player, first and foremost. Secondly, he's a great person. He's passed, the camp that we just had from, DR to
Guatemala.
Yes, Guatemala. Him and I, we talked about a multitude of things, right? Not just soccer related. We talked about business side of football. We talked about investing. We talked about friends and family, right? So I would definitely say Sydney's my favorite national team teammate. From a club side, CJ Cochran, the other goalkeeper that's here at OKC. So him and I, we were teammates when I first got to OKC. He left, and he became a starter in Fresno. But he's somebody that we work really well together. We push each other, right? We get each other better, and that's I think at the end of the day, that's what we both care about. We enjoy each other's company off the field. We talk other things, not just soccer. Our families spend time together as well. So that dynamic, I know it's rare in teams have goalkeepers that really do see eye to eye. We both want to be starters, right?
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But both know that we push one another to be the best version of ourselves. So.
Of course. How do you mentally prepare for a season? Because obviously in the off season, I don't know, like if you guys like drink or any stuff like that, but like, do you prepare or mentally prepare for a season? Like eating well, sleeping right, and everything like that. Especially during hard times like this during COVID.
Of course. Yeah, I think you never turn the switch off.
That's good.
There is times like, look, to say it's like hard work 24/7. No, because burnout is real.
Yeah, and
right?
we're all human.
Yeah, we're all human, right? So I try to not go as football goes, right? If you break it down to a season, right? You win on a Saturday, right? So you're on top of the world. Then you lose next week, and then you're feeling, as low as you possibly can.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a long career that way, right?
Exactly.
So you put the hard work in, right? You sacrifice. You're away from your family. You're doing your best to eat correctly, right? All these things, to get enough rest, to not go out, right? But during the season, it's work hard.
Yeah.
Once training is finished, I really try not to take training home with me. Once training is done, once I've done the work,
leave it there.
Yeah,
that's good.
Leave it, pick it up the next day, because I've seen multiple examples over the years of guys who, if football is going great, then they're great, and if football is going bad, you don't want to be around them, and it's not somebody I want to be.
Yeah,
I don't want my career to dictate how I am as a human. I understand. I get it. I'm not saying I'm immune to that, because I've gone through patches where it's like, everything sucks.
Yeah.
And then I've also gone through patches where I'm like, I'm on top of the world and I'm untouchable. But inevitably, the pendulum swing happens, right? So my whole thing is, can you stay as even keel as possible, right? If things are going great, I'm not a genius.
Yeah.
And if things aren't going great, I'm not a failure.
Yeah, of course. Cody, I just wanted to ask, because from what I found out, I don't know if OKC lets you go, but is that correct or no?
So I'm currently a free agent.
Free agent, okay.
Currently a free agent. Ideally, I'd love to come back.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like I will be coming back. But who knows? We'll see. With COVID, the variability of which teams in the USL are operating is vast.
Yeah.
Some teams have already started preseason, and other teams haven't signed but a few players. So there's still a lot of uncertainty, which like I said, I dislike.
Yeah.
I'd like to have something set up. But if it's here, if it's elsewhere, look, OKC is still home.
Yeah.
If I do go away, or if I do play for another team, it will be hard to call elsewhere home. For that. But yeah, who knows?
What does your future hold? Like, are you in talks with other teams? Do you have an agent?
Yeah, so I am represented. I'm represented by a great woman by the name of Jameson. Her son played for LA when I was teammates with him. His name is Bradford Jameson.
Oh wow, the forward.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
So she's been my agent since 2014. Currently in talks with a few clubs. That's
good.
Nothing concrete.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. So yeah, it'd be irresponsible of me to say, oh yeah, I'm going here. But I'm at the point now where I do still want to play.
Yeah.
But now I'm having avenues open up for me off the field. Player representation is very interesting to me. We start seeing teams like FC Dallas that have sent 3 or 4 guys over to Bayern, right? It's like
they haven't even played like 10 professional games.
Exactly, it's incredible. It's
how?
Right? Something's working, man. It's in the water.
Exactly.
No, what it is, I'll tell you exactly what it is. And I put out a tweet this morning about it after they just announced another player going to Bayern.
Yeah.
That MLS and USL front offices need to be calling FC Dallas up and asking for guidance, because the people, the decision-making people in soccer, right?
Yeah.
There is a little bit of a gap in terms of understanding the business side of things,
exactly.
Right? Where I take San Antonio for example, and I'm not going to speak out of turn because I'm 99.9%. This is true what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
They had a player on their roster last year, Pirano.
Christian,
right?
Portugal.
So they had an opportunity to sell him for 6 figures, right?
Yeah.
And inevitably he left on a free. He left on a free transfer, right? It does not make sense in a league that does not offer a cash prize for the winner to keep an asset like that.
Yep.
When you're looking at contracts in the USL, entry level contracts in the USL, if you're lucky, you're making 2 G's a month. Right?
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. If you're lucky if you're making 2 G's a month. Right.
Yeah.
So take that. That's you could have a whole back four. You could have a brand new back four. Hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
With that money. So the player representation side of it, I think there's opportunity to be had.
Mm-hmm.
But my focus right now are on these qualifiers.
Yeah.
To stay as fit as possible. They're going to happen before the USL season kicks off anyway.
Exactly.
So I'm sure something will come up before then. Mm-hmm. But I think long term, I want to be involved in the sport. I want to utilize all my connections that I've made throughout the years.
Yeah.
And look, 2026, this World Cup that's coming up, man. That's going to be massive.
Yeah.
That is going, and that's right in our own backyard. That's in North America. So,
massive for Puerto Rico.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're talking about doing the expansion at that World Cup. So we'll see. We'll see.
Exactly. What does Cody Laurendi do in your free time? Because obviously when you're not in training, when you're not preparing for a game, what do you usually do in your free time when you do have it? I'm guessing, because it's rare, probably.
So I'm either walking my dog, spending time with my wife, listening to podcasts, continuing education. Yeah. And we talked about it earlier. I was never one in school to get good grades. I did, just full disclosure, I did what I had to do to stay eligible to play sports. But as you get older, formal education necessarily isn't for me, but I really love learning. Yeah. I am very curious, and I want to learn about people. Yeah. I want to learn about people's stories. I want to learn what makes them tick. Yeah. So much like you do with these interviews, I enjoy listening to people. I enjoy listening to, very successful people at whatever they do. Podcasting.
Joe Rogan?
Of course. Of course. Right before we started this, I was checking out his most recent one with Elon Musk. So.
Oh, yeah? Uh-huh.
And then, look, I like some goofy stuff, too. I like to listen to some, Pardon My Take, which is Barstool Sports guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My brother watches that.
Where they just it's all jokes all the time. But it's good because it kind of, this seriousness of how professional athletes take themselves, right? And the media portrays it, right? Yeah. It's good to have a little reprieve from that, where it's, hey, don't take yourself too seriously. And so I like a good balance. And then, I listen to an economist by the name of Peter Schiff, because, the world's economy is changing so rapidly that, I'm trying to educate myself on Bitcoin. I'm trying to educate myself on precious metals, on what the Fed is doing on this, on Friday, things like that. Yeah. So I try to be as well-rounded as possible with what I listen to. But walking the dog, fishing when the weather is appropriate, or going out to the lake, riding bikes, being active. Yeah. I really, really enjoy those things.
Did you finish high school?
I finished high school, did 1.5 years of college.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
And then obviously last season was bizarre, crazy, but you lived it, you played. How was it playing during COVID with no fans, getting all these damn tests probably 2 times a week? Please explain,
Yeah, so I got to give it up to OKC because we did very well. We had a scare. We had 2 false positives.
During the whole time?
The whole time. So we did really well at, insulating. Like they talk about this bubble, right? Yeah. You're not really in a bubble, right? Yeah. You just kind of have to be as cautious as possible. Mm-hmm. But twice a week we'd get the nasal pharyngeal one, the one that goes way up here.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. And they kept us. They kept everybody, mentally in a good place, right? Like you had mentioned, we would go to San Antonio, we would go to Austin, we would go to RGV. There would be no fans, right? And then later on in the season, right? different areas allowed to have fans, right? So in OKC, we were able to have like 1,500 fans.
That's good.
San Antonio was able to have fans later on. So it was an ever-changing kind of situation, or evolving situation, if you will. But yeah, it was kind of like, look, control what you can control. Let's be as safe as we possibly can. But it was great to get back to structure, to daily routine of go in, train, get your work done, then, do it all again the next day.
Of course. A little kid from Melbourne, Florida, did you ever think or believe you would have achieved what you have achieved now and even be in the position where you are now,
That's a good question. No. I'd always wanted to be a pro, but I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
When they say, like your 4th or 5th grade yearbook, when they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I did say pro soccer player, so it wasn't like I just fell into this by any means. So I had it, but I didn't know what that meant. And at the time, growing up, the MLS had like 10 teams in it.
Yeah.
And I remember my parents driving me to Tampa to see the Tampa Bay Mutiny, or Miami to see the Miami Fusion. And watch guys like Roy Lassiter, and then watch guys like Carlos Valderrama, right? El Pibe. Those guys were my idols growing up. So I didn't know what that meant, but the journey that sport has provided to me is like, man, it's like grad school of life. You're able to experience so much more. You're able to build connections with people. You're able to experience things that never in a million years would I have thought. Oh, and by the way, you get to make a paycheck out of it. Like,
why not?
How lucky? That's the truth.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
Of course. And obviously, how was it representing Puerto Rico? And putting them on the map, obviously, because when you were with OKC, you're obviously representing them. Like how is that?
Oh, it's a massive, massive honor. A massive honor. Look, it's a proud culture, right? It's a very, very proud culture, and soccer on the island it's gaining in popularity, right? But the big ones down there, baseball. Baseball's massive. Volleyball is massive. Basketball is massive. So to kind of play my small role in pushing the profile of the national team of Puerto Rican footballing forward, I am always proud and excited to represent them.
Of course. Obviously, playing for the national team, what do you identify with more, being American or being Puertorriqueño?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. And look, obviously, I'll shoot you straight. I live in America. I'm here every single day. But that does not mean that I don't value the opportunity, the people. Again, to this day, I still have great friendships with people on the island. And I understand how much it means to them. So while heritage-wise or ethnicity-wise, maybe I'm not born there, right? I simply lived there long enough to represent them.
Okay.
It does not take away from the value that I place on it, and the serious nature in which I approach it. Because I know I'm representing something bigger than myself. So every time I go into camp, every time I play a match, every time I put that jersey on, it means as much to me as I hope that the guy standing next to me who was born and raised in Puerto Rico.
Of course. So how did that come about? So you might have stayed or were in Puerto Rico to be eligible to play? So there's literally no family, like...
Correct. Yeah, through my lineage, like I said, I'm half Irish, half Italian.
Okay.
My parents are second generation. So I am not Puerto Rican. I have no Puerto Rican descendants. However, being that it's a commonwealth of the United States, I'm able to, through my experience with Puerto Rico Islanders, playing there for 3 years, to represent their national team.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, it's a pretty simple process.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, so you know how the U.S. I think Julian Green is a good example, right? Julian Green, born and raised in Germany.
Exactly.
Right. But his parents were in the service, right? Now, obviously, my parents were not in the service, but they lived in Germany. They had U.S. passports, right?
Yeah.
So kind of, there's that doesn't necessarily apply to me, but other guys on the team, it's very similar. Where they just brought in a guy who who's Danish, right? Whose mom or aunt or somebody is Puerto Rican, right? So they've casted a wide net.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I mean, the experiences that I had down there, I was afforded the opportunity earlier on in my career at like 22, 23 to play for the national team. And I kind of said, you know what, I'm going to hold off. My career's kind of picking up a little bit here. Who knows? Maybe I'll get the U.S. call. But then come 26, 27, and that's the offer still on the table. Hey, you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah. How is your Spanish? Because obviously, like there are players that were born in Puerto Rico,
right.
maybe might speak good English, or probably they do. But in your case, how is your Spanish?
So my Spanish is non-existent, and it's something that when we go down there, most, if not all, guys down there do speak English.
Okay, that's good.
Most of we played against Guatemala, right? 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
There was very on both teams, right? All English.
Wow.
And then finding out that, this guy plays in the USL. This guy plays in the USL. This guy used to play in the MLS, or so while we're down there, we definitely work at it. But it's being immersed in the culture, and that's the only way that I have found success with it. So, I'm a bit ashamed that I can't, hold the conversation in Spanish. But again, that is not indicative of me taking the opportunity lightly.
Of course. June 13th, 2017, I'm pretty sure you remember this day. You make your debut with Puerto Rico against Indonesia in a friendly. How did you feel? Were you nervous singing the national anthem? Did you know the anthem? Talk to us about that great experience.
Okay, yeah. Well, that whole trip, first and foremost, it took over 30 hours to get there. Yeah, right, exactly. It took 30 hours to get there. We were there for about a week and a half. We played a practice game against a local team, and we beat them like 10-0.
Wow!
And I was thinking to myself, man, we came all this way, and I was correlating that game with the game that we're about to play.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we did all this way for that,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, all right, well, just enjoy the experience. Well, we roll up to the stadium. Place is bananas.
Wow.
Place is going nuts.
Wow.
National anthem. I'll backtrack a little bit. Warming up, right?
Yeah.
And something hits the 6-yard box. I look. It's a razor blade.
So
threw a razor blade in from the stands.
Wow.
So it would talk about hostile environment. You look up. There's thousands of people that bang in the drum, lighting the flares. You're just looking up. You're like, I take the razor blade. I hand it to the security guy. So, the national anthem goes right. You want to talk about a culture that is, that's all about respect, man. That you could hear a pin drop while the national anthems were going on. They applauded both national anthems.
Wow.
Right. And then look, that's 30,000 plus people.
Yeah.
That are there. So I tell, we break the huddle and after the national anthem, on 3 Puerto Rico. And I remember vividly saying to our operations guy, I go, take as many photos and as many videos as you possibly can. Because that was a moment that I was like, I have to have this document.
Yeah.
I have to have this document. This is what you work for.
Yeah.
This is what you work hard for. So went on to have a good game, made a couple good saves, tied 0-0. And then afterwards, it was like it was rock star status, man. We get changed, and we're walking to the bus, and they're make room. There's thousands of people outside of our bus.
Wow. We
go back to the hotel. They're all there in the lobby. Hey, can you take a picture with me? Can you take a picture with me? Hey, come back to why don't you sign with an Indonesian team? Wow. I had an agent in the lobby of the hotel offer me a contract.
Dang.
It was wild. It was a wild experience. Wild experience. So, the DMs on Instagram are saying, "Hey, come back to Indonesia, sign for my team." No, sign for my team. It was surreal. It was really real, and it was another experience, another unique experience that I'm absolutely grateful for.
Of course. Funniest and shyest player within the Puerto Rico national team? There must be.
Funniest? Oh, man. Can I pull it out of the archives?
Yeah.
Okay. A player by the name of Alexis Rivera.
Oh, yeah.
He is the funniest player that I think I've ever been teammates with. Mm-hmm. Just a great talent, was a great player, mm-hmm. but a hilarious individual. And then shyest, I'd have to say this past camp, Callum Stretch. So he's a center back.
And he plays in Indiana, no?
Well,
in Iowa.
He played for the University of Denver.
Okay.
And then he transferred to Indiana, but mm-hmm. I think he's going to go pro.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. I haven't talked to him this week. Mm-hmm. But only because the younger guys, we had them do their song and dance at dinner. So he was definitely one of the ones who was extremely shy about his turn.
Mm-hmm. Favorite game with the national team?
Would definitely have to be the one that we just played against Dominican Republic.
Oh, and winning.
First win.
Yeah.
First win. I've been a part of it when we've tied, and unfortunately when we lose. But that was the first win. A shutout on the road. Against a rival that we hadn't beaten in 13 years.
Yeah. It's huge.
That's good. That's big time momentum.
Mm-hmm, of course. And then obviously this last camp, Puerto Rico, I'm pretty sure surprised a lot of people, including me. With getting Isaac Anking from MLS, getting Alec Diaz from USL, well, he was already part, and like various others within the USL and abroad, But how does this make you feel, Because obviously Puerto Rico is changing their image,
Correct.
How would, like, even the players, your guys yourselves, like, what are you guys talking about each other? Pumping up, for Puerto Rico.
Look, I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic that younger players are getting more opportunities earlier in their career. In the past, it wouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
Right. There's more teams now, so that means more opportunities for players.
Yeah.
And the fact that the federation has made it a point to contact a massive base of players.
Overhaul.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's great because competition is what you look for, because competition raises everybody's level.
Exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to with everything you got, put forth effort
mm-hmm.
to be in that starting 11.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you're gonna have success.
Yeah. Of course, and then obviously next March, like how you said earlier, upcoming games against Atiba Harris, St. Kitts and Nevis, and against Trinidad and Tobago. If you could talk to us about these upcoming important games for you guys, and what are possibly the keys to beat these teams, because TNT is not at their best level, as we know, and it's not trying to talk trash; it's the reality, But if you could talk to us about that.
Of course. Well, St. Kitts, we played them a few years ago in St. Kitts, and they're extremely talented. I believe, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I want to say he's playing over in England right now.
Is it Hanley? Yeah.
Say again?
Is it Hanley or no?
No, it's Romaine Sawyers.
Oh, yeah. Playing for West Brom, no?
Yeah. Something along those lines. So look, that's indicative of the talent that they have. Yeah. Obviously, being teammates with Atiba this past couple of years, I know the talent that he possesses.
Yeah.
He's. You want to talk about somebody who's been there, done it, got the T-shirt. He's seen everything there is to see.
Yeah.
That's the man. So they're obviously always going to be difficult to play against. Extremely athletic. Trinidad and Tobago, yeah, you're right. They're going through some stuff right now. I know they had some sanctions with FIFA, and they didn't show great against the U.S. the other day. We have Guyana, which Guyana is not an enjoyable place to go to, so they'll definitely have that advantage. Mm-hmm. And then the Bahamas. So, look, I'm not going to make any predictions. I just think that we have a good chance to win a couple games.
Yeah, of course.
As long as we put our best foot forward, man, the talent that is in our locker room that I've seen over the past couple of weeks, I'm very impressed with.
Yeah, of course. I am as well. And then obviously, like how you said, how was it beating República Dominicana, if I'm not wrong, in República Dominicana? And then how was it going to Guatemala, my home country?
Yes.
A game that you guys lost, but honestly, a game that you surprised us a lot. You know, it wasn't like the game before where we played against 2 years ago. Massive haul, completely different side of Puerto Rico. But please talk to us about that.
Yes, of course. So the like I mentioned, the Dominican game, you know, that was massive because they are a rival in other sports.
Yeah.
Like I talked about in baseball especially.
Yeah.
Right. So to kind of add another chapter to a rivalry in a different sport was massive, and to beat them in their home country. But I have to say, Guatemala, I was blown away.
Really?
Not only on the on-field stuff, right? Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It is, and yes, I experienced Guatemala City, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure, just like everywhere in the world, there's rough places.
Yeah.
But the people were kind, mm-hmm. right? The hospitality was second to none. Mm-hmm. The weather was fantastic. It was a clean place. Like all these things, and then on top of that, great competition.
Yeah.
So we didn't get the win, but you know what? Look, Guatemala is further along in this process than we are. Mm-hmm. They are much more of an established footballing nation than we are here in Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. So, all things considered, man, it was an awesome experience.
Of course, and obviously Elgio Morales. If you could talk to us about the coach, and the federation doing big things, because even on their Facebook, great videos. Great, yes. Like even the interviews, like great pictures. Like it seems like Puerto Rico is really, really trying to better the Puerto Rican image within soccer. But if you could talk to us about the coach,
Yeah, so LG is fantastic.
Yeah.
I have nothing but good things to say about him. He and his staff put together a game plan, a style of play. Everything was structured, mm-hmm. and that structure leads to success.
Exactly.
It was professional. It was. It was like it's as if you received an itinerary, right?
Yeah.
Everything was broken down, and that I love that.
That's professional.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what you're used to.
Exactly.
That's what you're used to. So I really, really enjoyed that aspect. And like I said about LG, I nothing but great things to say about him. He has a style that he wants us to play, and we fit into that style. He was very complimentary of me. Of what he asked of me to do, mm-hmm. So he's in my opinion, for what it's worth, mm-hmm. he did fantastic.
Yeah, of course. To finalize the interview, Cody, I'm very honored to have spoken to you, to have gotten to know you. And it's been dope, to speak to you and to get your insight as a goalkeeper. Because obviously talking to like midfielders and forwards, they have a different perspective, So
different perspective, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So thank you so much for your time. I wish you the best of luck with Puerto Rico right now in these qualifying matches. I want to see you guys win because you guys are a very good upcoming team, and I hope to see you, also to sign with the team soon, because you are a great goalkeeper. You've demonstrated over these past few years of what you are capable of, So like I said, thank you so much. God bless you and your family.
Likewise, brother, and thank you for the time. Mm-hmm. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you for watching my video. If you guys could share it with your family members and friends, that would be much appreciated. To all the people around the world who watch my videos, thank you so much. If you could like and subscribe to my channel, I would love that a lot. Until next time, thank you.